Okay. As always, I'm going to start off with Colossians 3:17, and whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Give me thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. So I want to look at, continue with Esau the Edomites and the wicked Israelites, you know. But I want to go into Ezekiel the 35th chapter right now. Matter of fact, let's go back to Genesis. Go back to Esau and Jacob. Look at their what they were given from our forefather Isaac, as he was pretty much getting ready to leave up out of this earth. Let's see what he told them as far as their blessing would be, because we're looking at Esau, and a lot of people, they don't really acknowledge the fact that Esau is the biblical name for the so-called white man. I say so-called because they're different shades of red, like we're different shades of brown. So when you go to Genesis the 27th chapter, let's look at it. Let's go through it. It said, and it came to pass, verse 1, that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son. Because Esau came out first, remember? First came out red and hairy all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Genesis 25:25. His brother came out, they didn't make no mention of him because he was normal, like everybody that was on earth that had pigment and melanin. So it says, but Isaac, he couldn't see. He called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. And he said, behold now I am old. I know not the day of my death. See, I don't know when I'm going to die, but it's near. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow. Remember, Esau was a cunning hunter. We went over this already. And go out to the field, go out into the world, field is the world, and take me some venison. I want some deer meat. And make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me. He said, bring him savory meat that he loved. He said, bring it to him. Make it good. Make it, season it right. Make it taste good. And bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. See? So he already died. And he said, hey, go get this deer meat, season it up right, the way I like it, before I die. And Rebekah heard, that's our foremother, Rebekah. Rebekah heard, that's Isaac's wife, when Isaac spake to Esau her son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. So Esau went to the well looking for some deers to kill. They could bring back some deer meat, tasty and that his father loved. Isaac. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob, her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, give me venison, deer meat, and make me savory meat, season it the way I like it, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Most High, before my death. So he said, hey, go. Because, the firstborn supposed to get the inheritance. So our foremother Rebekah, she heard him. And telling Jacob, hey, now therefore, my son, our foremother Rebekah telling our forefather Jacob, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Remember, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth, in the land that the Most High given us, right? He said, hey, that's the first commandment of promise. So he said, as I command, she said, as I command you, go now to the flock. This is what she told him. And fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats. Remember, Esau came out hairy, that came out like a hairy garment, hairy all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So she's telling our forefather Jacob to go get 2 good kids, that's baby goats of the goats, right? Kids, goats, same thing. Y'all calling y'all children kids. When we the children of Israel, we're not no baby goats. They're the goats. Look at what it said. And I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. I'm going to season it up just like I know how he like it. You know she know. You know. She going to season it up just like he like it. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. See, he say Esau hairy. He said, but I'm a smooth man. I don't got all that hair like him. Hair all over is coming up. I mean, we got pictures of it, you know, showing all that hair. Y'all know they got to do waxes to get all that hair off of them. But they've, you know, galvanized themselves amongst the nations, so now they don't look as such. Some do, though. Some have not. They do. That's why he said, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man. He said, I'm going to pull this off. I don't care if he's blind or not. He going to know that I'm not Esau. Because Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. He got all that hair on him. My father, peradventure, perhaps, will feel me. So he going to feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, as a big liar. And I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing, right? This is what his mother said. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse. My son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. Because remember, the Most High said, the elder shall be a servant to the younger. Right? So, however, that's why I say the Most High's ways and thoughts are not our ways and thoughts. How the Most High bring this about is how he's going to bring it about. Point blank. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. Right? She took Esau's clothes, put upon Jacob, her younger son. He was the next baby that came out. They were twins, but Esau came out first. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats. They skinned the goats, baby goats, and she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands. Just how hairy Esau was. Upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. All around here and on his hands. Hairy. Hairy hands. And the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. Right? I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may be blessed. He said, hey, sit and eat of my venison, that your soul may be blessed. Know that thy soul may bless me, Salakia. Because remember, the firstborn supposed to get the blessing. That's what Isaac was getting ready to do with Esau. But remember, Esau sold his birthright. Remember that? Don't forget that, because a lot of y'all say Jacob stole it. But no, Esau sold it. For what? Go to Genesis 25 and 29. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. And we know, we went to Hebrews 12 and 16 to say, Esau, any profane person as Esau, who sold his birthright for some meat. So that red meat, that's like, don't they like that meat that way now? rare. Indication of who he's talking about. He said, I am faint. I'm about to faint, man. Give me some of that red meat and them lentils that you got in that pot, that stew. Therefore was his name called Edom, which means red, right? And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Him being the firstborn, he's supposed to get the birthright, the majority of what Isaac had. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, just a little hungry. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? I'm talking to all you out there that say Jacob stole it. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Why ain't you reading that right? That's why you go to Hebrews 12 and 16. Hebrews 12 and 16. In the New Testament. As y'all call it. He said, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat, now we know it's red, and you know how the so-called white man and white people love their meat rare. One morsel of meat, that red meat, sold his birthright. You see? We just read that. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited a blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance. Do you see this? So y'all looking to teach them to repent. He found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. We ain't got that. We ain't ever got there yet, but you're going to see. This is what we're looking at. And we're reading about in Genesis 27th chapter. Going back to Jacob putting on the goats, the kids of the goat skins, like a goat, all around his neck, and on his hands. Going back to Genesis 27. Verse 19. And Jacob said unto his father, Isaac, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according to as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Most High thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee. Isn't that the first thing Jacob said? In verse 12, my father peradventure perhaps will feel me, and I shall seem to him a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. He said, first thing he said, hey, my father gonna feel me? No. What's the first thing he said? Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Remember, he couldn't see, but he recognized his voice. Say that voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy. His hands were hairy. His hands on this side was hairy. Not on this side, but on this side was hairy. He said he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, art thou my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. So he did drink wine. He brought him wine, and he drank wine. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment. Remember, he can't see. So he said, come here and kiss me. So when he came near him, he was able to smell him. Let me see if this, because remember he put on Esau's clothes. And Esau had a certain smell. Remember, he's a man of the field. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Most High has blessed. Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. This is a blessing that he's given to the Israelites, to our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. We became the 12 tribes of Israel. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be a power over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curses thee. You hear that? Cursed be every one that curses thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee. You see, those that curse us, they're going to be accursed themselves. Those that bless, we the children of Israel, going to be blessed. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out of the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his honey. Jacob left. He didn't got the blessing. He done left. Now here come Esau. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. The same thing Jacob said, right? And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yeah, and he shall be blessed. Because the blessing had to come to Jacob, because the Most High said it. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry. Remember we read that in Hebrews 12, 16, 17? He cried with a great and exceeding great bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing, the blessing of the firstborn. He was blessed with everlasting life. Listen. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob, which means Yahweh, which is supplant or get over on? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. What did it say? Esau despised his birthright. He said, what does his birthright got to do with me? I'm about to die, man. I'm about to faint. I'm hungry. Give me some of that. I don't care nothing about this birthright. We just read it. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So he telling Isaac, he asked him, say, haven't you reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy power, thy master. Behold, I have made him thy master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So what I'm going to do to you? I done gave him everything. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, crying more. You know, you see him on TV crying like to get whatever they want, or get somebody to feel for them, and whatever it is. Sometimes they done something wrong, accusations against us, and we ain't did anything, but they still crying. Put that crying on, oh, I feel sorry for him. That's what they do. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, started crying. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be, this is the blessing of the so-called white man, thy dwellings shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Everywhere, they everywhere in the earth. That's what he said, it's their blessing, the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shall thou live. Hear that? It said, by thy sword shall the so-called white man live. You gonna tell me there's another nation that have more ordinances or more destructive nuclear power than the so-called white man? Last I heard, America is the police of the world. Them in Russia. And by thy sword shalt thou live and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, let you know that Esau gonna have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So he broke his yoke from off his neck. Looking at it. And they were ran to the Caucasus Mountains because they had the kingdom as the Romans. And they were ran to the Caucasus Mountains as the Romans, approximately 193 AD. They were the Greeks before that. That's the first kingdom, Alexander the Greek. Then the Romans. Then they ran to the Caucasus Mountains. And they came out in 1453 as the Ottoman Turks. Still over there fighting. Turks and the Scourge still over there fighting. And by 1492, when they called a Renaissance, the rebirth of the so-called white man coming into power. From then to now. But verse 41, this is what it said. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. This is what Esau said. He made this a vow. And Esau said in his heart, Esau said in his mind, this is the forefather of every last so-called Caucasian. We're not talking about just because they so-called white people. We're not talking about it. We're talking about those that are truly the ethnical, biblical Edomites, whose forefather is Esau. Because see, some of y'all got to understand, just because, that's why I say it's not about the way they look. Because some people that look like the so-called white man could be of the seed of Gehazi, who was cursed with leprosy. He was turned white, and he said his lineage, all his lineage is going to be so-called white too, with leprosy. So you got those that's intermingled there too. And some Israelites going to look just like them. You see? We different shades of brown and so forth. You got someone that's really an Israelite. They might marry another Israelite. Next thing they have brown children. Because that's who their ancestors are. This will happen. Or we as melanated people have them. They came from us. What do you think? Isaac and Rebecca were sister and a brother. Like me and a sister that get together and have a baby. Come out looking like Esau, because they come from us. As we just read. It is within this lesson. But this is what happened. Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, he said in his mind, he made this vow. The days of mourning for my father are at hand. He said, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. So I remember Isaac was ready to die. Said, then will I slay or kill my brother Jacob. He said, once my father died and we mourning so many days, I think it's 30 days for their father, say, then will I slay or kill my brother Jacob. So he made that vow. But when Jacob met him, he didn't kill him. But he just made that vow. You just heard this vow. So when you see those other scriptures that come out, and you know for a fact, you see with your own eyes, unless you just somewhere in a bubble, somewhere in your own wilderness somewhere in this world, to see what's going on with us and how they're dealing with us, and how the scripture said it would happen. Hopefully you understand. And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, does comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Hear that? To his own mother knew that her eldest son Esau was plotting to kill his brother Jacob. Sound familiar? Cain and Abel. Cain killed his brother Abel. Same thing that happened to Jacob. But our foremother Rebekah heard him, told Jacob, he purposing to kill you, man. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee thou to Laban my brother to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, till thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? So that's why he told me, hey, don't take no wife of no one else but who they dictated. Like she said, go see my brother. So Jacob married his cousins, and their handmaids was given to him. So we come from, as Israelites, we come from 2 men and 5 women. Our forefather Jacob had 4 women, and those men that he had, those boys that he had became men, and they became the forefathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. And Joseph, he had a wife that had Manasseh and Ephraim in Egypt, which those men became tribes. You know, they became a complete tribe. When we said great multitude, like the sand cannot be measured nor numbered, that's where we come from. But let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35, and we're going to start at verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. So a lot of times you'll see that the Most High will talk about a certain land mass, but what he's talking about is the people that's on that land. You see? Because prophesying against the ground, what you going to get out of that? That's why I say prophesy against Mount Seir. That's why we got to go back and look at who he's talking about. What people lived in Mount, which means mountain, Seir. Go back to Genesis, the 36th chapter. Genesis, the 36th chapter, and we're going to find out. Genesis 36 and 1. It says, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Okay? So now when you jump down to verse 8, it says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. You see? Esau is Edom, or red. Okay? So now that we know that, when it's saying in Ezekiel 35 and 2, you could understand through the precept, this son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. So set your face against the people that the Most High put in Mount, which means mountain. You just add a A-I-N into Mount Seir, which are the Edomites, and prophesy against it. He's saying the land there, but it's talking about the people that's in the land, Mount Seir. You see? And say unto it, thus say the Most High Power, behold, O Mount Seir, or Edomites, I am against thee. How the Most High going to be against the land that he created? He said, O Mount Seir, The people that live in Mount Seir, the mountain of Seir, was the Edomites, so-called white men, so-called Caucasian men, indigenous, I might say, aboriginal. That's why I say we're not really dealing with, they like to call themselves white, but they're different shades of red. But we're talking about the Edomites. That's who the Most High gave the land of Mountain Seir. Mountain Seir. Mountain Seir. That they come from now, the latest place they came from is the Caucasus Mountains, right? Between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea in South Georgia, Russia. So he said, and say unto it, verse 3, thus said the Most High Power, behold, I, O Mount Seir, or Edomites, I am against thee. And I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste. So he's going to lay the cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. And thou shalt know that I am the Most High. So you're going to know that I'm the Most High when you lay all the cities desolate. Why? Why is he going to do this? He said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Hear that? By the force of the sword. The modern day sword is the gun. In the time of their calamity. Listen, in the time that their iniquity had an end. We almost there, y'all. That's why, hold that. That's why you see Zechariah 11 and 5. That's why you see this. Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them. I mean, they kill us. They're killing us. And hold themselves not guilty. Speaking of that, I must recap over my brothers and sisters. Can you see this? Stop murder by police. I give homage to my brothers and sisters that have been murdered. Hope they'll put that on a front page of my video. See here. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Oh, we ain't finished yet. There go the scripture. Look at all my brothers and sisters. This is not even everyone. This is, but it's enough. It's enough. That it hurts. My condolences to all the family members that recognize your loved ones. Zechariah 11 and 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Most High, for I am rich. That's how they got rich. Free slave labor. Free slave labor for hundreds of years. Didn't have to pay nobody anything. And still have not shown forth any reparations for slavery. I mean, they spending billions of dollars on Ukraine.
has joined.
Billions of dollars and nothing, I mean zero reparations for slavery. That's what they say. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Most High, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Their own pork chop eating preachers don't care nothing about nothing but getting their money, getting paid. While they was crying when they had the planned pandemic, or the pandemic. It's like it. You know? When they couldn't come to church to get their money, they was crying. They don't pity nothing about what it is that these scriptures are saying, else they be wanting to know more. Stop spewing them lies. But say, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Oh, we ain't finished. Got something else for you. White supremacy equal genocide of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's the history right here. It's a story. It's what they've done to us. You can't deny this. Brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, let me take the time to read the caption. My late brother Zakatah put this together for me. This is year 1911. Laura Nelson, before, right here. Laura Nelson, before. Laura Nelson after. Hanging on the rope. Hanging on the rope. See that? Laura Nelson and her 16-year-old son was accused of murdering a sheriff. The mob of white townsmen gagged the jailer, took the accused out and hung them from a timber on a bridge. Galatians 3:13. Galatians 3:13. Mashiach Yahushua has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, curses every one that hangeth on a tree. And so let's continue. It says, year 1919. Accused of assaulting a white woman, a crazed mob of 5,000 to 15,000 white men ripped off Mr. Brown's clothing, dragged him to a light pole, and hung him. This is William Brown. Accused of assaulting a white woman, a crazed mob of 5,000 to 15,000 white men ripped off Mr. Brown's clothing, dragged him to a light pole, and hung him. As his body dangled from the end of a rope, the mob then shot him over 1,000 times. As his body dangled from the end of a rope, the mob then shot him over 1,000 times. Mr. Brown's body was then taken down, tied to the back of a car, and dragged several blocks to a spot where they burned his body. The rope in which the mob hung him with was cut in pieces and sold for 10 cents a piece. This is William Brown, right here. William Brown before and after. William Brown. Before and after. See him burning to his step. William Brown, before and after. Zephaniah 5 and 1. 11 and 5, Salakia. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. All right. Year 1955. Mr. Sip and Smith was accused of robbing and murdering a white man and raping his girlfriend. A crowd of white men broke into their jail cell and dragged them out to a mob of thousands of white men, then was hanged. Mr. Smith tried to remove the noose from his neck, but he was lowered, then his arms broken. The police was in cahoots with the crowd. Here they are. Right here. See that? Right here. Here they are. Right here. So we in year 1955 still. Emmett Till, accused of flirting with a white woman. Mr. Till was stripped of his clothes, severely beaten, his eyes gouged out, tied to a cotton gin fan with barbed wire, shot in the head, then thrown in a river. Emmett Till. Here we go. Emmett Till. Before, Emmett Till. Before and after. Because his mother had his body with an open casket, the way it looks here, for the whole world to see. What they did to her 14-year-old son. Esau had a perpetual hatred and have shed the blood of the children of Israel in the time that the calamity had an end. Deuteronomy 28 and 50. Cut off on me on that one.